What the heck is this? This thing, if it works, is gonna be the coolest thing I own. Picked up some products from Temu. Let's see if they're legit. And speaking of another crazy item, a digital air compressor. Don't have high hopes, but hey, it might surprise us. We got a little chamfering deburring tool, a woodworking square, magnetic ground clamp. Eesh, that's got a good bite. Part of the case is already broken. Last but not least, some digital calipers. Let's dive into this stuff and see if it's any good. Wow, there is not much in here. Okay. The portable air compressor. This thing's got 45,000 reviews, and maybe that's, okay, maybe that is just the company, not the actual product. The website, you just kind of got to watch. Sometimes you got to do a little digging on the actual reviews for the product. All right, so you got a couple attachments, and I did notice that there are two different options. You got a battery, which I got, so we're gonna have to charge this, and then a wired one. So let's stick it on the charger and be, well, what is that? 9 volts? What's the input? 5 volt. Okay, good. I can charge it with just a regular, looks like USB charger. Now the pictures show it can go 2.5 bars, but I mean now I'm confused because it shows 4 bars on the battery. I'm just messing with you. You can go down to different pressure systems, and yes, PSI is one of them. So 2.5 is equal to about 36 PSI. So it could do maybe a lower end car, kind of, if you want to sit there all day. The bike, it seemed to work just fine, but the thing I'm most excited about is to pump up the balls. I'm gonna let my kids have at this, and then I won't be asked every other day to pump them up for them. For this purpose alone, it makes the $18 air compressor well worth it. The chamfer tool, you know what? I had high hopes for it. It's one of those tools where I didn't really ever have that big of a need, but the videos just look so cool, just making a nice little chamfer on top of the bolts, and it was a bust for me, okay? So I put 3 bolts down. I got a 1/4 inch, 5/16 and 3/8, chopped them all off, and you know, I just tried the chamfer tool. The issue I was seeing was it was still mangling the first couple threads, so you couldn't get the nut on. So what I did was I chopped them all off again, and then I just did a very light pass with the chamfer tool, and it did kind of work with a little finagling on the 1/4 inch and 5/16, but I was never able to get that 3/8 bolt on with the chamfer tool. So I'll tell you what, I'm going back to my trusty good old trick, which is you thread the bolt on prior to cutting it off. And then what that allows you to do is once you cut it off, then you can unthread it or unscrew it. Go back and forth a couple times. Once you get to the top, it kind of rethreads it for you, and then you're able to go all the way off, and putting it back on is a breeze too. So I'm gonna toss this guy and just go back to how I was doing it before. The high precision woodworking square protractor miter triangle ruler for engineers. I can tell you right now, engineers don't use this. It's for woodworkers. Yes, it's got the ruler, 45, 90, all the, you know, all the bells and whistles and stuff, but I can tell you right now, the thing I'm most excited about is because if you got your typical square, let's just say, you know, you go make a line, and there's numerous times when I go up and I need to make that line all the way across, and well, I've only got, you know, that 1 inch of the lip, or actually less than the 1 inch because that's the full thing. So I've only got about a 1/4 of the inch of the top of the square to be able to go down. And with this one, you can go almost all the way down, pretty much. I mean, obviously you can just extend a little bit with your 2x4 and then all the way across. No little lip or ledge to go. It also is pretty square. At $9 is, well, the reason why I'm going to be keeping that around. Onto the calipers, and yes, well, the plastic case is already chipping away, but hey, that's what you get, right? So I've had this $2 set of Harbor Freight calipers for like 15, 20 years, and they work for what I use them for, okay? And what do I mean? Well, I'm not in a machine shop, you know? The approximate values that I get are just fine. Pretty much I'm just getting, you know, the bolt diameter or plate thickness so that I can get on to welding or know what size nuts to use, right? Showing the digital compared to a plastic, I realize is not that great of a comparison. So this test in no ways was scientific at all because there's probably a good couple thousandths difference in the shank of the bolt itself. So I scrounged through and I did find my older Harbor Freight, and then my neighbor actually had a couple as well. So hey, we tested it out with a whole bunch of cheap calipers. Now the values are all within a couple thousandths. So what does that tell me? Well, it's at least all consistent one with another cheap pair. And so just don't rebuild your engine with it and you'll be good. They give you a spare battery. A little pain is, man, the screws for the battery are teeny. Not in a machine shop type setting. This all metal, yeah, even the little digital scale, these calipers are gonna last and do just fine for what I need them for. All right, on to what I'm most excited for is this handheld welder. I don't know why, this just seems like it's a really cool idea. Not that functional or practical, but hey. All right, looks like we do got some specs here. It is 110 volt. Says the output range is 20 to 120. I don't know if this thing can really put out 120 amps. I might be a little scared cranking it up that hot. But hey, let's test it out and see how it goes. You do get the little face shield mask, which I'm gonna put that right back where it goes. And oh, they do throw in a couple rods too. Sweet. Using the trusty calipers, 0.0960. It's close enough to tell us that it's a 3/32 inch rod. And the rod type that they throw in is a J422, whatever that might be. Just the coating looks like it might be a 6013. I don't know. Let's just see if it welds. If you decide to download the app, use my code down below. It just gets you an extra coupon. Weld. Whew. Can you imagine being in the pitch meeting for one of these? Like, hey boss, I know we've got a welder. There's really no need to go smaller, but hey, what if we combine it all and put it in a giant oversized drill? In conjunction with the welder, I am switching out the ground clamp for the magnetic clamp. Hey, this thing actually welds. Now, I did have my doubts at first because I forgot to pull the trigger. Had to get used to that for stick welding. Usually you just flip the switch and you're already hot. For 84 bucks, the X-Core, I know it's a pretty sweet name. Hey, you know what? It gets the job done. You know, I won't be doing full welding projects with it for sure, but just to throw in the little tiny case to take off to the neighbor's house, it will do those little odd and end jobs. Let's recap. Very surprised and actually ended up really liking the portable air compressor. Don't get the Deburring or chamfer tool. The square is great for woodworkers. Calipers will work for me. The magnetic ground clamp works just great. And my favorite tool of the year, the handheld welder. That's all I got for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.